Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Just Parlays with Chris King. I am your host, Scott Steen. I'm the lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com. I'm just kind of along for the ride as I watch the master do his work. What's up, master? Happy Star Wars Day.
Sure, it's Star Wars Day. Sure, that's great.
You celebrate Star Wars Day?
No, I've never been into Star Wars or Star Trek or any of that stuff. Quantum Leap is probably my favorite show from that kind of, mentality.
Science fiction kind of thing.
Yeah, watching Sam Beckett bounce around with, and you have something in common with Sam Beckett with that Swiss cheese memory. At least his excuse is that he traveled back and forth in time.
Fair enough.
Your excuse is that you ate too much barbecue.
That is not my excuse, but I burned a lot of brain cells in my younger days, buddy. I'll just say that. So,
hey, look at that, Scott. We already have a question. What happened
to Jim? Jim is kind of the executive producer of all the shows, and it was never really going to be his job to host, although he is a very competent host and has a couple of his own podcasts that do very well. But he was always going to be more of an overseer role and just kind of wanted to get everybody up and running. And that's what happened to Jim. So there you go.
He was traded for a player to be named later and a head of lettuce.
So James, you think it's definitely a downgrade having me in there instead of Jim? Oh man. Hey, sorry we got on the air just a little bit late today. I had a mild moment of panic there as I had no output for my sound. So, of course, I did what every novice computer person does that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I restarted everything, and it magically came back. But I'm reaching out to my kid. I'm reaching out to our tech guy at Winners and Whiners going, what do I do? What do I do? And then I went, oh, never mind, it works. So,
yeah, because who's the one that told you to do that? Me.
Well, I restarting my computer did not help. My son is actually the one that suggested restarting my soundboard. Of course,
sometimes you get those clashes where something doesn't, they just don't want to talk to each other.
Well, see, we're in the middle of transitioning from the kid, me teaching him to him thinking I'm an idiot about everything. So he's like, well, you got to check your gain and make sure your outputs are good. I'm like, okay, seriously, it's a little sliders. I got the sliders in the right spot. But thanks, son. Appreciate it. So anyway,
thanks for the update.
We're here. Had a decent day yesterday. Christopher hit a couple of two-teamers. Hit both two-teamers from the show, right?
He said, well, James said he could only put up with you for an hour, and now he's got you for two.
Dude, how do you think my wife feels? I totally understand, James.
That's why she's never home.
I wish I could share a picture. She's at her job today wearing Yoda ears.
That's interesting.
To my knowledge,
I guess she likes Star Wars.
To my knowledge, I was going to say I think she's seen 2 of the Star Wars movies.
How many have you seen?
I actually made the effort since they all were on Disney. I watched all of them last year.
All 37 of them?
No, there's 9. I went through and watched all 9. I didn't watch all the sub things and the little, the halfies and all that shit. I watched the three trilogies basically as well.
Gotcha.
So, thanks, James. No worries. All love. Much love back to you, my friend. Marlo in the house. Good afternoon, Marlo. See you here on talked about Star Wars Day, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And I guess is it Revenge of the 5th tomorrow? Or is it Revenge of the 6th?
I think it's the 6th.
See, that would make sense, but my wife was saying like Revenge of the 5th. So anyway,
no, of course you could also say Revenge of the 6th could also be all the indigestion you have from eating tacos on Cinco de Mayo.
Did you have tacos yesterday, buddy? Did you do your tacos?
In fact, I did.
Now, are you a traditional taco kind of guy, just onion, cilantro, and meat on a corn tortilla, or are you more of a Tex-Mex gringo taco kind of guy, hard shell, hamburger, cheese, lettuce, that kind of thing?
I actually go with steak sometimes myself.
Ooh, a little carne asada, sir?
Yeah. And, my wife and my son both like chicken, so I did some of that too.
All right.
So, we got all kinds of crap. It's just flooding the kitchen right
And do you load them up with the cheese and lettuce, or do you?
Oh, yeah. You got to have that.
Well, no, you don't.
And the taco sauce.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's very good. I'm a big chicken guy. Believe it or not, I don't eat a ton of red meat. It's about the.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, which is why I said, it'd be weird if you came over here because, we don't do that. Going back to the A team where they work for a health food group, and BA's like, "Where's the meat? This sandwich is full of weeds."
It's okay. I think it's I think that you can make a case that probably healthier laying off all meat, but I can't do that. I'm a chicken guy. My wife is a vegetarian, except she will eat fish, so she's a pescatarian.
Well, my response to that, all those people that are vegetarians are, Jim Fix was the jogging guy. He died of a heart attack while he was running. Jack LaLanne was the juice guy. Didn't do him any good. Then you got Keith Richards.
Fuck, he died at 100. What are you talking about? Jack LaLanne was like in his 90s for sure.
Yeah, but look at Keith Richards. Keith Richards is never going to die.
That's true. Oh, that's that. You can definitely find them on each side. No question about it. So, got a few games going on right now. Got Arizona in front of Miami. Mets Atlanta tied up in a good one there.
What do you think of Chris Bubik?
What did I think of him giving up 5 runs in the first inning?
Well, yeah, and the only out he got was because Pujols decided to swing 3-0.
Here's the deal with that. Last time I faded Bubic because he had been so terrible, and he went out there and pitched a great game. So today I laid off. Wainwright had kind of disappointed his last time out, so I wasn't sure what we were going to get there.
True.
And of course, Bubic comes out and absolutely shits the bed. So
yeah, I looked at the play-by-play walk homer, and I was like, well, that's not good.
It's about 50 degrees here, Chris, with about a 10-mile-an-hour breeze. So those people that are out at Royal Stadium, you got to feel for them, because not only are they sitting there in the cold, they are watching a terrible, terrible baseball game, and it was over in the first inning. That's the
so
part.
You don't think the Royals are going to come back?
No, I think after their next road trip, they'll come back to Kansas City. But no, I don't think they're going to come back. I don't think they're going to come back in this game.
And Marlowe's Pirates playing the first game of a doubleheader today. That game, nothing in the third. Dylan Peters getting the start for the Pirates. I guess Quintana must be going in the nightcap.
Yes, I have. I have Fado.
Oh no, I mean going for the Pirates. Fado's going for the Tigers.
Yeah, you're right. I thought you meant Jose Quintana's going. I forgot that's where he landed. Oh God. Yeah, good luck, Pirates backers. Pineda's been surprisingly.
Cleveland just scored.
There you go.
They're down 3-1.
Somebody alert the media there. Who was roasting Clevenger? Somebody in our text chain was roasting Clevenger the other day. Was it you or Reichel?
It must have been Reichel, because I just said that he was going to make his first start against his former team. So Reichel must have torched him after that.
There you go. Marlo, I will definitely back your Pittsburgh Pirates. Anybody in the American League Central, I will always cheer for them to lose. So sorry, Detroit Lenny. I apologize in advance. So, all right, Chris. So, let's get it rolling. We got a lot of games. Any surprises yesterday? Just to recap, I know that I inexplicably took the Washington Capitals, and they pulled off a victory. So
yeah, Florida melted down in the third period, and that's been one of their issues all year. But normally they can outscore the opposition. I was surprised that Vanacek played as well at net as he did. Surprises? I mean, not really. I mean, we
Boston rallied in the NBA. They came back and even the series, took care of Milwaukee about like Milwaukee took care of them in the first game.
True. Golden State lost, and now they have Gary Payton with a broken elbow.
It's not good.
Reichel was talking about that last night in the text chain. You weren't available for comment apparently.
It was like watching hockey talk. You guys talking about this the 2002 defeat of the Capitals, or I'm like
no, he was talking about the Islanders losing to the Leafs in 2002.
Whatever, dude. I was absolutely had nothing to contribute to that conversation.
But we were talking about basketball before that.
I didn't see a lot of basketball. I just saw hockey talk. So
well, the one thing we were talking that started the hockey thing was he said that Kyle Clifford should be charged with attempted murder for his hit on Ross Colton the other night that got him a 1-game suspension. So I brought up, if that's the case, what was Dale Hunter going to be charged with when he brutally assaulted Pierre Turgeon back in the 93 playoffs after he gave up the puck on a turnover that led to a goal that would have sealed the series. And while Turgeon is celebrating over by the boards, Hunter comes over and drives him into it, and then later said, I didn't know the puck went in the net. I didn't see the light go on. I didn't hear the crowd cheering.
That
And then
seems
he
a little
wondered why he got
unhelpful.
suspended for 21 games.
It is weird that the laws of society are suspended. The actual laws, not the unspoken rules or any of that bullshit, but the actual laws of society are suspended for sporting events. There's no assault, no battery. Rarely, occasionally, a hockey player will be rung up when something is so egregious. I know there's been a couple of instances. I'm sure you probably got the names, but I know there's been a couple of instances where they faced actual charges. But for the most part, you could beat the shit out of somebody, and there will be no legal ramifications. Is that? And we just accept it. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that kind of weird?
I'm sure that it's got to throw people off, but then they realize, hey, well, it's sports. They have their own mindset and their own rules for everything anyway. I mean, where else but the NBA can you play 0 games and still make $40 million?
Well, that's pretty true. So, all right, buddy. So,
And finally, let's touch on Big Game Dave.
oh yeah, you were all over that. He was he lived up to his ironic moniker, right?
Yeah, Big Game Dave, to quote Frank Pembleton from Homicide: Life on the Street, "Sucko the big wienero." Now he's bilingual. He made 8 saves on 13 shots, got pulled 15 minutes into the game, and if Nashville's smart, he won't see the ice again unless it's for the handshake line at the end of the series.
8 saves and 13 shots. I'm no math major, but that means
61.5%.
They let in 5 goals.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
In 15 minutes.
That's brutal. It's one of those things where Reichel could almost say, "I could do that."
True.
I don't believe
Connor Ingram made 30 stops and 32 shots in relief, but by then the game was already over.
Yeah, it was not good, buddy. So I know we've got a full slate tonight. We've got some hockey playoffs. We've got some NBA playoffs. Of course, we got a lot of Major League Baseball, and it is, of course, the first of 2 getaway days. So if you're not playing early today, probably be playing early tomorrow.
Yeah, there's I think 9 games. 9 of the 17 games today have a first pitch before 5 p.m. So
yeah,
kind of made it interesting when you're trying to figure out who you're going to pick for the later games.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck with good old familiars because we talked about them yesterday and they both panned out. So why not go back to the well?
Why not? Let's see what we got cooked up, buddy.
We've got none other than, that's right, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Our old pals, the Brewers.
Because, hey, look, Vladimir Gutierrez is pitching today. I double-checked.
Much rumored, often maligned Vladimir Gutierrez.
Yeah, to say he sucks. He looks like Rick Vaughn before he gets his glasses in Major League.
Nice. Just a bit outside.
Yeah, it looked like a strike. Sounded like one anyway. 0-4, 7.41 ERA, 1.941 WHIP, 15 walks, 11 Ks. The Reds lost yesterday with their best pitcher on the mound, Tyler Mahle. The score was 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
If Milwaukee can't score more than 6 off Gutierrez, they probably have bigger problems than we thought. Freddie Peralta, he's 0-1. His ERA is 5, but if you look at his FIP, it's like 265 or something like that. So, he's bound for a bounce back. And what better team to bounce back against than a team that's 3-20?
The National League Central Trampoline.
Yeah, the funny thing was I saw a stat that they were talking about. Yeah, the Brewers, they're 16-8. They're 7-0 against the Reds and 9-8 against everybody else.
Yikes. Well, I mean, although, you say that, but that's part of what a winning baseball team looks like. That's part of what winning 90 games look like, is you have to be able to beat up on the bad teams in your division. You have to take care of business against the teams you're supposed to take care of business against.
But I mean, the bad part for Milwaukee is now they've used up almost half their games against the Reds.
Right. That's the unfortunate part, is you only get to play 19 against them.
Yeah, the Reds dead last in offense, 3.04 runs a game. They're 29th in runs on the road at 267. James says his grandma could pitch against the Reds. Great. So now James's grandma is going to be right up there with Reichel about saying things they can do against professional sports teams. The Brewers, middle of the pack, they're averaging 4.17 runs a game. They're averaging 4.67 at home. They're 10-1 in their last 11 against the Central, 6-1 in their last 7 overall. The Reds 5-22 in their last 27 on the road. If that's not bad enough, they're 5-22 in their last 27 after losing a game. So they like stringing together losses, and they're 1-6 in the last 7 meetings with the Brewers. I just have no faith in the Reds. You know, they've put up I think the 2 worst records through 21 games in the last 30 years, because they were bad in 2017 or 2018. They're bad this year. The only team worse than them after 21 games, the 1988 Orioles, who started 0-21.
You got to feel for Joey Votto in this spot, man. I mean, the Reds, they haven't been. I know they haven't been to an NL. They haven't been to an NL championship game with Votto, right?
No, I don't think they've been to the NLCS since they won the series back in '90.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm trying to think if they've even won like their play-in game, if they've won the wild card game.
Let me take a look here.
I just feel for Votto. It's just kind of a wasted talent there.
Yeah, if I'm Votto, I'm considering waiving my
no trade.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, they lost the NLCS in '95. They lost the National League Division Series in 2010.
Right.
After they won the Central, they lost the Division Series in 2012. They lost the wild card game in 2013, and they lost the wild card games in 2020.
Okay, so they've had some sniffs. They've had some opportunities, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump and even make the championship game.
They've won 2 playoff games since winning the World Series in 1990.
That's what I remember. That's why I remember them being so shitty, is because they're basically non-competitive in those series, and they get swept a lot.
Yeah, the 5-game series they had was against the Giants, where they led 2-0 in the series, and then lost 2-1 in 10 innings in Game 3. Then they lost 8-3 in Game 4. They lost 6-4 in Game 5 at home.
Oof.
So they won the first 2 on the road and then proceeded to go 0-3 at the Great American Ballpark.
I remember that series. I absolutely remember that series. So on this one, Chris, minus 275. I'm assuming if you're going to play this as part of a 2-teamer, you're going to play the run line.
Yeah, that's what we did yesterday, and it panned out.
Yeah, I mean, it really, when you see those prohibitive numbers, if you want to put it in a big parlay, 4 or 5 team or whatever, you want to throw a little minus 275 sweetener in there, that's fine. But if you're counting on it for half of your plays, you almost got to play the run line to give you any kind of value. Would you agree with that, Chris? Did we lose Chris? All right, can you guys still hear me? I'm trying to figure out if it's me or if it's Chris. Man. Okay. Check, check, check. All right, so I'm still here. Well, this is going to be a really boring show without Chris, because Chris has all the slides and everything for all of his plays lined up. So there you go, guys. And I'm assuming that he's going to see if he can pop back in, because it's usually, if there's a problem, it's usually on my end. So while we're waiting, I'm going to find out from you guys. Anybody anything big yesterday? Anybody play any parlays? Anybody hit any good plays and made a little money out there? Let's find out, shall we? Mm-hmm. I hate the delay. We say we talk to you guys in real time. There's really about a 10-second delay until by the time you guys hear me, and then post an answer, and then you write an answer and then post it. It's usually about 10 seconds. So he should be back soon. I agree. He should be back soon. Otherwise, it's just Scott rambling about sports for the next 45 minutes. Let me see if I got a text from him here, guys. Excuse me while I text in the middle of the show. This is incredibly professional. Chris? Hey, buddy. All right, we're gonna find out what's up here. It's Chris. Yeah, it's definitely because he was there, and then I could still see him like in the preview shots, and I couldn't hear him, like he'd frozen. Oh, here he is. You back?
Yeah, Wi-Fi cut out. You have to love Spectrum's internet.
Oh, free plug for Spectrum, by the way. By the way, we didn't do any of our plugs, buddy. So
You can. Did you do that already?
I didn't. I should have taken the advantage time to do that. Instead, I spent about 2 minutes going, I wonder what happened to Chris. I wonder if Chris is there. Hang on, I'm gonna text Chris. So yeah, don't forget about our deal that we've got with our partners over there at Caesars Sportsbook. That is a great deal. It really is. I know you guys kind of get immune to it because you hear us talking about it all the time, but it really is an opportunity to play at a level that perhaps you're not used to playing at. So if you got a grand and you want to make that big sports bet, you got something you feel is a lock, they will give you that first bet insurance, that is your first deposit, first bet at Caesars. And you got to use the code ATS wins CZR. And the link is in the description. So do take advantage of that. Must be 18 to play, except in Wyoming and New Hampshire, where you have to be.
You must be 21, except in Wyoming and New Hampshire.
18 in Wyoming. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
And don't forget about the Kentucky Derby guide, Scott.
Nope. Don't forget about the Kentucky Derby guide. Down the stretch they come. It is available for free. The link is in the show description as well. Pick that up. And Chris, you big horse guy? You like to bet on the horses?
Not as much as I used to. It gets tough because so many of these horses you end up, like we talked about the other day. The guy who won the Kentucky Derby ended up losing it, a couple months ago. I know you already spent that money, which you talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're not getting it back. By the way, Jim says we can't blame him. No. Jim executed his duties flawlessly.
No, we're gonna blame Jim for not getting the podcast up.
Sure, absolutely. But as far as the Spectrum internet goes, do you have any other options up there, buddy?
I'm gonna have to look into. We're talking about maybe looking into T-Mobile, but Spectrum has just been horrible as far as it just cuts out for no freaking reason.
So we live in Kansas City, which is one of the 2 cities in the world with Google Fiber, and I had it in my house. It was unbelievable. I could get up to 2 gig speed, and this is back when other people were doing like 40-50 megabytes. Right. And now AT&T has high speed internet. Has what do you call it? When the fiber. Yeah. And I can't get it here. But my daughters, they're moving. They're in my same apartment complex, but they're moving in an apartment complex across the street, and they have it over there. They have the high speed AT&T internet over there. I'm pissed off.
So maybe you should move across the street.
We're thinking about it, buddy. We're thinking about it. These are brand new. They just built them.
I mean, if you can get that high speed stuff where it's a gig or better, why not?
Yes, exactly right. Tim Earl in the house. Speaking of baseball, Timmy Earl in the house. If you like baseball, you want great baseball opinions, make sure you check out Tim's the show that he does with Detroit Lenny with his brother Nick. And then I know Nick and Tim have their own thing going on as well. And of course, Chris and I have our own thing going on as well as far as our premium picks. Both of us have premium picks available. And I believe the link should be in the show notes. If they are not, please go to
Then blame Jim because he's the one that puts the show box together.
Please go to Whiners and Whiners. Man, you just want to roast somebody, don't you? I can't imagine. Thank God I do every show with you because I'm sure you'd be roasting the shit out of me if I wasn't around.
Well, who said I don't?
Well, fair enough. But I'm saying that's you do every show you do it with me. So, I'm your show buddy. But if you can't find the links in the description, make sure you just go to winnersandwhiners.com, click on expert picks, and there are many options. But we always appreciate your business.
By many, we mean at least more than 2.
Yeah, we've been running pretty good. So, okay, so we're done with the Brewers. They're good. Take the run line, and
look who it is.
Let's move on. What do we got? Little Twins?
Oh yeah. I mean, hey,
the same slides as yesterday.
Nope, they're different.
Okay.
But the Twins benefited us yesterday. They were the other part of the Brewers 2-teamer yesterday.
You're absolutely right. Dylan Bundy gets to show the Baltimore Orioles what they fucking missed out on. See, you could have had all this.
Yeah, I mean he was roughed up by who did he face in his last start? Because I thought he was going to win and he lost. On Friday, he faced was it
Up
the
my
Angels?
sports betting career. I thought he was going to win, and then he lost. Yes. Well put.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. That's who he lost to.
Oh shit.
But now we're talking about Baltimore. Baltimore is notorious for being a bad hitting team. They didn't do much to Joe Ryan yesterday. Bundy 3-1, 295. Kyle Bradish, he gets to make start number 2.
Excellent.
He wasn't bad against Boston, but Minnesota hits a little better than Boston does in the first month of the season.
They shouldn't, but they do. But yeah, they are right now for sure.
And we talked about bad offenses. Baltimore's right down there with the Reds. They're 29th in the majors, 3.08 runs a game. They're 28th in runs at home. Twins 7-0 in their last 7 as a favorite, 9-0 on grass, 11-1 in their last 12 overall. Baltimore does not do well against teams with winning records, 13-45 in their last 58. They're 11-57 in their last 68 against teams with a winning percentage over 600. And the Twins have won 10 of the last 13 meetings in Charm City. I'm going to take the Twins to sweep the series and leave Baltimore building on that lead in the AL Central. I'm guessing the Twins were not your play of the day today.
Twins were not my play of the day today. No, they were not. My play of the day is actually the Mets and McGill.
Yeah, I picked them on the premiums because obviously with it starting so early, it wouldn't have mattered to try to get it in the show.
Man, I went back and forth on whether to play the Mets or the under, and so far, looks like the under would have been a good play.
Yeah, the Braves countering with in the shuffling madness of locomotive breath, Ian Anderson.
See, I'm glad that I'm doing a show with you and talk about Ian Anderson because Scott really only knows Aqualung. I can't really do any other Jethro Tull lyrics.
Well, you could have just talked about how he's thick as a brick.
I can't do. I can't do. Meanwhile, back in the year one, nothing like that.
Well, Rachel, that's the problem with the youth of today. They're all caught up in BTS and
Yeah, Rachel's a gigantic BTS. He's all involved in the T-Swizzle and all that stuff, like the kids are.
And Katy Perry.
He likes late 90s, early 2000s, like semi-metal, like Disturbed, and
I like that semi-metal.
Well, it's not full metal. I would call it hard. We used to call it hard rock. Your Disturbed, Chevelle, that kind of stuff is what Rachel likes. So anyway,
allegedly,
take the Twins. Now the Twins at -145. I know that's because of Bundy's last performance. Does that bother you at all? That because we're getting a little value there. If you want to play the run line, we're getting plus money.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
If you want to just stick it in there at 145, that ain't dinging you up too bad. That's a decent price for this team, right?
Yeah, and I mean Bradish, like I said, he pitched well against Boston. You have 2 runs in 6 innings, but Baltimore only scored 1 in that game, so I'm not expecting them to do a whole lot against Bundy here.
Well, that's the thing. If we need a rebound out of Bundy for sure, buddy.
And I think he'll get it. I mean, Baltimore is a bad hitting team. They strike out more than a quarter of their at bats on the year, which is why Bill talked about taking Bundy over 3.5 strikeouts is a pretty safe prop. I actually have that in the Shot in the Dark segment. But Baltimore's outside of Trey Mancini and maybe Cedric Mullins. Who do you worry about in that lineup? Anthony Santander.
Santander is hurt, right?
I think so.
I know he was at one point. I'm not sure if he's back or not. I kind of like that kid, but I don't think he's done much this year, if I'm not mistaken.
On the season, Santander, 237, 3 homers, 11 RBIs. At least he walks a lot.
That's an all-star in today's MLB. You're hitting 237. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's got 17 walks and 19 strikeouts. So I mean, at least he's not like some of these guys. You look, Jorge Mateo is their starting shortstop. He's walked 5 times and struck out 26. Mountcastle's walked 3 times and fanned 24. And Rougned Odor still has a job. 4 walks and 21 strikeouts.
Okay. All right. What else we got? We want to play some parlays?
We have to go to hockey first.
Oh, hockey. Hacky. I don't know.
Hacky.
Hockey. How about the
We
Blues?
talked about the
How
Blues the other day.
Oh, now you believe me.
I took the Blues in game 1.
I must have been on me and Rochelle's show that he liked Minnesota there.
Yeah, I took the Blues as an underdog in game 1. I'm taking them as an underdog in game 2.
Absolutely.
They won game 1 4-0. They're 10-0-1 in the last 11 games against Minnesota. Ville Husso starting against Marc-Andre Fleury, same guys you saw in net in game 1. Minnesota did not look good. I mean, maybe they used up all their energy holding off St. Louis to get home ice advantage in the first round. But, St. Louis 8-1 in their last 9 on the road, 6-1 in their last 7 against the Central. They're 13-3 in their last 16 overall, dating back to the regular season. Minnesota does not play well as a favorite in the playoffs. 2-10 in their last dozen games as a playoff favorite. They're 1-6 in their last 7 games in the opening round. And St. Louis has owned this series between the teams, winning 14 of the last 17 meetings. Now, I'm not saying David Perron's going to go out there and score a hat trick again because it's the first time he's ever done it in the playoffs in his career. But, the Blues, they roll 4 good lines. Minnesota, they kind of rely a lot on the Kaprizov line, and they hung Fleury out to dry a bit. And if you do that, St. Louis is one of those teams that can move the puck laterally and get a good look on an open net, half open net more often than a lot of other teams. I just don't trust the Wild here.
Yep, I'm with you. By the way, Bill McDonald says Dylan Bundy over 3.5 strikeouts should be good.
Yep.
Yes, I agree with that. Only once in his 4 starts has he gone under that number, and he ain't faced Baltimore yet, and that is a team that strikes out a ton. So Jim wants to know.
Sure do.
Jim wants to know if we can do Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, and I would say yes from the beginning.
Why don't we just do Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield?
I like that. We should start our show with "Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends." There you go.
We can do that too.
See, I can do it.
But you wouldn't let us play, the good or Waylon Jennings for the Left Turn Mania.
We can't play anything. We don't have. What kind of budget do you think we have?
Hey, we got Jim over there. He can take care of it. That's his job.
Somebody write a check. Somebody write a check to ASCAP, would you? Jesus.
$7.
All right. So there's a little positive value. Somebody, whoever was talking about, you're always taking big favorites. Well, see right here.
Well, you notice that person hasn't shown up today because they also said that 2 out of the 4 underdogs would win yesterday, and the only one that did on the ice was Pittsburgh. And even that came in triple overtime after a controversial call late in the third period that took a goal off the board for the Rangers that would have won it probably because that would have put them ahead 4-3 with 3 minutes to go.
Right. Exactly right. So,
and then we'll move on. I'm going to go back, God willing. I don't know why. I'm going to ride Edmonton in this one. They disappointed the other night because we talked about yesterday with Mike Smith having a brain fart. Apparently he's, went to the Scott Steen mental health institute where he tried to pass. Smith is notorious for not doing well in the playoffs, but the Kings, I think they probably played about as well as they could play the other night. And it's tough to try and put that kind of performance together at back-to-back games on the road. And plus you still got to deal with McDavid and Draisaitl on the other side of the ice. And, Edmonton's power play was very good in that game.
204, right?
Yeah. And God knows they could have had a couple other ones if Quick hadn't made some acrobatic saves.
Yeah, their special teams were very good. They were 2-4 on the power play. They shut down all 4 scoring chances when they were shorthanded. They did a lot of things right, but unfortunately they had Mike Smith in goal.
Yeah, it's the battle of the AARP eligible goaltenders because, Quick is ancient and Smith is 40. But I just think, if you look, the Kings still struggle at Edmonton. They've lost 9 of the last 12 there. They've lost 5 of the last 7 meetings overall. They've lost 5 of the last 6 as an underdog. And that win yesterday on Monday snapped a 6-game losing streak in the opening round of the playoffs.
They were due.
Yeah. So now they're due to regress to form, so I'm going to take Edmonton.
I have a long list of shit I'd rather do as opposed to lay 195 with Mike Smith. So I'm going to pass on this one, brother.
I don't blame you.
All right. Very good.
And now we go to the Naboo. Yeah.
The NABA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to be confused with ABBA.
Nope.
Scott, which way were you leaning here? Were you going to try to take the 76ers after their dismal performance in Game 1?
No. I will probably. I've got to play on the total in this game.
Are you going under again?
As far as the side goes, yes, I've got the under in this game as well. I don't know how Philly gets to 100, maybe 95. I don't like the way this team's playing right now without Embiid. You know, some teams step up when their star is out and they do a passable job, and even win some games. Philly so far has not been that team.
Yeah, Harden did not look good the other night.
Did you see the deal with Harden and it wasn't Tybal on the bench?
Yeah,
where he wouldn't sit beside him. Was it Tybal? Who was it?
I think it was Tybal.
Or was it Maxey? It might have been one of those two, I think. Said, did they literally say you suck?
Yeah, well, you know.
I don't know.
It's true.
But he definitely got up and moved twice when Harden tried to sit by him. So there could be a little dissension on the Philadelphia 76ers. If I had to pick a side, I'm on Miami here. I think you're solid there, and I think I'll lay the 8 points. I think if they win by double digits.
Yeah, I mean, Harden was 5 of 13. He turned the ball over as many times as he had assists, 5. You look at some of the other guys on the floor. They let George Niang shoot the ball 7 times in 22 minutes. All 7 of his attempts came from 3. This is one of those stat lines that Reichel actually could do because Niang was 0 for 7.
0 for 7. Yeah, there you go.
Somehow they were +6 when he was on the floor, even though he was 0 for 7. So
it must have been just tremendous defense.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, Philadelphia was 6 of 34 from 3 in that game.
It is.
We know Kyle Lowry won't play again for Miami tonight, but that didn't affect him in Game 1 because they just gave more minutes to Hero, the 6th man of the year.
That's right.
And he'll probably put up another big game tonight because he'll play 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm. They had done all right without Embiid. Like I said, they were 4-6 without Embiid on the season. They were 1-0 against Miami. Of course, most of those games they didn't have Harden, and I'm not sure that's a plus at this time.
I agree.
I'm not sure having Harden in the lineup because he's not going to play defense. So
I think he's allergic to defense.
If he isn't going to play defense, you better be able to get 25 points out of him in the playoffs, especially without Embiid, and that. By all accounts, it ain't happening in this.
Yeah, and the other problem is DeAndre Jordan can't do anything inside. I mean, he was a -22 in 17 minutes.
Yeah,
Adebayo's going to have him for lunch.
Yeah, they just own these guys. They own whatever bigs they try to throw in the box there. So yeah, I'm good with this play. I like the total better, but I like the Heat quite a bit as well.
Yeah. And that takes us to the Suns and the Mavs. Did you have a lean one way or the other there?
What do I have on this one? I've got a premium on the total here for this one. So
okay. You didn't take a side on that one, huh?
I did not take a side. If I did, I would. I've been sucked into the Mavs before with the point total, with the points a little higher than I think they should be. I'm done getting sucked in. Give me Phoenix. Give me Phoenix -6.
I see Tim saying the Mavs +6. My concern is how do they stop DeAndre Ayton because they didn't in Game 1. And Ayton poses a threat to Luka Doncic too because he's mobile enough to get out there and
he can pop out there, absolutely,
and make things difficult for him. Brunson struggled for a big chunk of the contest. I mean, and that was a big issue because he was great against Utah. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's basically the reason why Dallas won that series because the Jazz couldn't stop him.
Right.
That leaving guys wide open to shoot friggin' 3-pointers. But Brunson was 6 of 16 in Game 1. Dwight Powell was ineffective because he only took 3 shots. Dinwiddie was 3 of 8 from the floor. And you look, they didn't really go that deep in the bench because Bertans only played 8 minutes, Ntilikina played 2, and Green played 10. So you had Dinwiddie play 30 minutes, Kleba played 25, and 4 of their starters played at least 31. including Doncic, who played 44, trying to do everything for the Mavs to keep them in the game. But
Right.
they don't really have the depth that Phoenix has either.
No. Well, and we talked about this Dallas team that really has just fallen in love with the three-pointer. They took 39 the other night, and they did make 16. They went 41%, but I think that's an anomaly. I think making that many is an anomaly. I don't think they're going to make 41% again. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take 35 plus. And if you can get out on the perimeter and slow them down, you're not going to lose to Dallas, man.
Yeah, and they got pounded on the glass too, because the final rebounding total was 51-36. And that's not going to get it done. They've got the Suns have athletic wings that can play defense.
Right. And you got to factor in how many of those rebounds were off of three-pointers that
right.
Dallas had nobody under the basket. So they were just giving up free rebounds on those misses. So I don't see a path here for Dallas. I really don't. I liked them against Utah. I thought they looked really good, but this Phoenix team, especially since they've gotten Booker back, I think they're probably once again the best team in the West.
I would go along with that. As much as I'm not a Phoenix fan,
I know.
You got to give credit where it's due. You don't win 64 games by accident.
Yeah, if you're gonna let Ayton get off 20 shots, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, and you only drew one foul on him.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal. That just tells you. Now the thing is, you look at his rebounding stats. He only had 8 rebounds, but again, you have to remember a lot of those were coming off of 3-pointers.
Yeah, because you look, Crowder had 8, Bridges had 7, Booker had 9.
So, yeah, everybody in the starting lineup had at least 5 rebounds.
Right, and then so did Cam Johnson off the bench.
That's right. Cam Johnson did as well. So it's a team that spreads them around. And yeah, when you shoot from far away, obviously your wings are going to get more rebounds, and your big man isn't going to see his numbers, but the overall rebounding numbers were still pretty good.
And Tim, Dallas almost covered, but they almost covered because they were down 17 after 3 quarters. So I mean,
right.
they cut it down in garbage time. They never really threatened to make a game out of it.
I know, and we always talk about you can't have any kind of a memory. You got to have a short memory, but sometimes it's hard to do. Like this Dallas team that refused to cover last time out. I got sucked in, and looked like definitely ended up with egg on my face there. So I'm not doing it again. I think I haven't seen anything change.
That's
I don't know what's changed from this game to last game. If they would have shot 18% from 3-point land or something, you go, well, there's some room for improvement.
Yeah, if they would have shot like Golden State did yesterday.
Right. But if you look at the numbers, they seem ripe for regression. They seem like they're going the wrong direction. So
true.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, buddy. I like the Suns minus the 6.
And now we get to the fun part of the show.
Okay.
And like Michael said, almost get you nothing.
True. Very true.
Or my favorite phrase for that is coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't.
Yeah, well, you should have had a teaser is what you should have done.
Dallas is 5-2 against the spread this playoffs. Sure, but they played Utah, who couldn't hit a 3-pointer if their life depended on it in that series.
Right.
I mean, Phoenix isn't going to go out there and jack up 35 or 40 threes and hit 6 of them. Or in the case of Utah, that one game, they were 3 for 30.
Gobert doesn't have the offensive capability that Ayton has. I think
true.
For what you give up in defense from Ayton to Gobert, I'd much rather have the more powerful offense.
That's a valid point.
So, all right, bud, we got about 10 minutes or so. So what you got?
Yeah, well, we talked about these already. We talked about the Twins and the Brewers. We wrote them yesterday, and they panned out. Why not stick with it? Why not go back to the well? Damn it! It's not always empty when you go back there. Sometimes there's still water in it.
Yeah.
We just talked about the Heat. Like you said, the 76ers look lost offensively right now. I saw Doc Rivers said Embiid feels better, but that doesn't mean he's coming back anytime soon.
I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, if your eye socket's broken, I don't know what feeling better has to do with anything. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Get the big mask, like Phantom of the Opera mask, like the Undertaker used to wear after he
probably.
got his eye socket busted up.
Well, and it's all about the vision too. Do you have good vision in that eye? Do you still have like blurry vision or double vision? So
Yeah,
it's
because
not
I mean,
just
he's got to clear the
pain.
concussion protocol too.
Also true. Also true. Yeah, good point.
So I mean, it's gonna be an uphill climb for him, I think.
Yes, I agree.
And the Blues, like I said, we rode them Monday night, and I'm going to take them here again because I'm not convinced that Minnesota is going to win in the playoffs. I mean, sure, they got Fleury, they got a goaltender that they can count on, but it doesn't matter. You could have, Jacques Plante or Ken Dryden or, Bernie Parent or any of those guys that were great goaltenders, Glenn Hall in the 60s and 70s. If you hang them out to dry where you're letting him skate in 3-on-1, 3-on-none all the time, you're going to freaking lose the game because he
Yeah.
can't stop everything.
Yep.
And that's what happened the other day. And
Yep.
I think it'll happen again.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one as well.
And Michael said Marlowe should thank the Reds for being in the NL Central as a Pirates fan because he does as a Cubs fan, and I thank the Reds for their service too for being everybody's whipping boy.
Very good.
By the way, Scott, would you take the over or under on the Reds setting or breaking the Mets record from 1962 for the most losses in a season?
What is it? 116?
They were 40 and 120.
120. And that takes some effort. That was like the first year of the 62 game or the 162 season, right?
Yeah, that was when the Mets were an expansion team.
So they were 42 and 120.
Yeah.
No, I'll take the under.
It says the Reds are on pace to lose 140 games.
No, that will not happen.
Apparently, the worst record ever, which would go back to 1899, was the Cleveland Spiders. They were 20 and 134.
Big Spiders fan. I faded them a lot that year. I did fine.
What you were going with Old Hoss Radborn?
Gotta love me some Old Hoss.
The worst winning percentage of all time is in the modern era from 1900 on was 235. The Philadelphia A's in 1916 went 36 and 117.
You knew that team was coming to Kansas City.
Damn Connie Mack.
Yeah. I'm just going to take this historical trend there. I'm going to play the under.
So you think they're going to win like 45 games?
I think somewhere in the. I think they could lose 110. I would think would be tops.
Okay, so you're going to put them basically where Arizona was last year.
Yeah, right in that neighborhood. Correct.
Gotcha.
I think
you heard it here first, folks.
There you go. Bold calls. They will not break the 130-year-old record for whatever it was for losses.
Yeah, and the fourth, I'm going to go with the Red Sox. Our good buddy Garrett Whitlock, who we talked about last week, in that start where he lost 1-0 against the Blue Jays. He's facing the Angels and Reed Detmers. I'm not impressed with Detmers. I know he got a win his last time out, but he still got an ERA over 5. The Angels have been blanked in back-to-back games going into tonight. So if they get any runs, it'll be an offensive bonanza. Unfortunately, I think Boston will get the win. And I'm going to take the Yankees. I thought Toronto was going to win the first 2 games. Manoah kept them in it yesterday, and then they beat up on the bullpen and turned that game into a rout. It's going to be Nestor Cortez, who we talked about last week, facing UC Kikuchi, who has been absolutely brutal.
Dreadful.
I saw he's got a 47.8% hard hit percentage so far this season.
Good Lord.
He's giving up an average of 1.8 homers per 9. His FIP is 662, which is actually worse than his 552 earned run average.
Yikes.
He's got 13 walks and 13 strikeouts. And he's getting paid $16 million.
Good work if you can get it, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, Cortez wasn't as good as he had been the last time out against the Royals, but he was still fine.
And I know he only struck out 3 or something like that in 5
right.
innings, but I know the weather was a factor because that was Friday when you were talking about
Mhm.
with all that rain and the tornadoes and everything ripping through the area. No, I think it's a safe bet. We're not taking the Reds at plus 40,000 to win the World Series.
That's we don't often solicit donations, but if you do want to make that bet, just send us that money.
To send it to the Me Foundation, and so I can get better stuff.
Yes, exactly right.
Marlo said he put 99 cents on it.
Okay, well, there's 99 cents you're not getting back.
Yeah, you could have bought an Arizona iced tea for that.
That's I'll tell you what, if that happens, then God love you. That's I'm rooting for you. I think it'd be funny. I love chaos. Yeah, Cortez went 5 earned, gave up 8 hits and but just 1 earned run because, the Royals. So yeah, he's got what do you have, a 1.6 whip for that game. So again, not ideal. He gave up 2 runs total, 1 earned. So yeah, what are you gonna do? I think
And then we'll go to the shot in the dark here, Scott.
Take a shot in the dark, buddy.
Got Aaron Judge going over 1.5 total bases. We just talked about how bad Kikuchi is. So I mean, shouldn't be hard for Judge to put one in the seats up at Rogers Center, considering everybody else does.
I would consider a Yurfee in that game as well.
No, that's probably a good bet too.
I didn't
look at what the line was for that.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised to see Judge win that in the first inning, and then I'm like, well, you know what? If he's gonna do that, you might as well take the Yurfee. Fade the cooch, man. Fade the cooch.
Like Bill was talking about, like you said, I had Dylan Bundy over 3.5 strikeouts in that game. Like you said,
there you go. Spoiler alert. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, he's like you said, he's gone over in 3 of his 4 starts. He's gone no less than 5 innings in any of his outings. So, and Baltimore strikes out a lot. I'm going to stick with Oakland against Tampa Bay. I just haven't been impressed by the Rays. Frankie Montas going against the Klubot, who probably needs to go in for repairs because he hasn't looked all that great this season. I know he was good in his last start against the Twins, but before that he gave up 4 runs on 11 hits against Boston in 5 innings, 2 runs on 4 hits against the White Sox. And he was decent against Baltimore, but he walked 4 and 4 2/3 in that start. And that's tough to do, walking Baltimore 4 times. Elsewhere, you were right about that one, about Marquez getting roughed up and going over the total. Washington actually had offense for once.
Yep.
But here I'm going to go with Austin Gomber because
I did that as a premium, by the way.
Did you?
Yep, I did.
Here I'm going with Austin Gomber because for God's sake, Patrick Corbin has been absolutely lousy. He makes Big Game Dave look good.
He's the 0-4. He's the cooch of the Nationals.
Yeah, 0-4 with an ERA of 8.69. Opposing hitters have a 4.30 on base percentage against him.
That's pretty good.
I mean, that's just
not
horrific.
Good if you like Patrick Corbin, but it's a pretty good mark if you're a hitter.
Yeah, on the hardwood, I'm going to look for the Mavs and the Suns to edge over 216. They probably won't get to 235 like they did the other day, but I can see them getting into the low 220s and going over the number. I'm sticking with the 76ers and the Heat going under.
Okay.
Philadelphia just lost, we said. And based on that, I'm going for Philadelphia staying under 99.5 points.
Got to.
I think in the playoffs, Miami's opponents are averaging 94.5 points a game at the FTX Arena this season, and they shut down the Hawks in the opening round. And the Hawks actually had players,
right?
They don't have players here. On the ice, I'm going to look for the Bruins and the Hurricanes to go under 5.5. That game went over in the first game because Boston decided to pull their goaltender when they were down by 3 goals with 3 minutes to go and gave up an empty netter. The Blues and Wild, I like to go over 6. I'd like to think Minnesota might actually score in this game, so that could help. And the Kings and the Oilers, hey, they got to 7 last time. Why not do it again? I'll look for them to go over the number, over 6.5. A little bit of plus money there. Might as well take advantage of it.
Very good. And just good time to point out that you may see some repeaters here if you watch the show every day. And the reason behind that is simple. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but you've got playoff series. So obviously you've got the same teams playing every day. And you pick up on a trend, or you pick up on on an advantage that one team has over the other, and you're gonna ride that, man. There's we're not reinventing the wheel. We're picking winners here. So
ride it into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, if you see, and of course, baseball, they're playing the series against the same people. This, of course, a lot of them wrapping up today, but so that's just, especially on Wednesday, you're just going to see a lot of repeaters because you've got a lot of the same teams playing exactly the same teams.
Yeah, tomorrow will be a shorter schedule in baseball. You got 2 games that'll go off before we start the show, including Cincinnati, Milwaukee. So I can't go with that one again.
Right.
Then in the evening slate, you've got Washington, Colorado go at 3:10. Then you've got Toronto, Cleveland, the Mets, and the Phillies again. But hey, look, the Twins are playing Baltimore again tomorrow at 7:05.
I was gonna go out on a limb and say every match today was either a rematch of yesterday or Monday.
You are correct.
Okay, there you go.
You are correct, sir.
All
yes.
right, buddy. That's a fine. I'm tempted to play all 10 of those. I really am. Well, there's a couple that I don't like, but
well, that's okay. I mean, you're entitled to not like them all if you didn't do the research on them. So I know you do your own research for your picks, and
yeah, but a couple of them that I don't like, I actually did research. I went the other.
I'm sure you don't like the Rockies because
I'm not going to say that. In fact, if you stay tuned, you may see that game again. Just saying. Hey, speaking of staying tuned for our show, don't forget to check out all the great shows over here at the Max Wagers Network. Kicking off at noon Eastern time with Sean Higgs doing midday money. And then speaking of money, you got the plus money, honey. Allie Burns doing her show Morning Wood at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is a good time for Morning Wood. And followed by who? Oh, yeah, us at 2 o'clock. Scott and I will be doing our show at 3, followed by Sean Miller, bringing you up to date on the world of soccer. And closing out the day is Detroit Lenny, Nick, and Tim Earl doing their thing on Game Time Decision. So check out all of those shows. Chris, any final thoughts before we go?
Just looking here, John's asking if you'd go to 4.5 strikeouts by Bundy because that's what they moved it up now from 3.5. I still think you're safe there with Baltimore.
Yeah, hopefully you're getting plus money.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't play it for less than even money.
And Nathan says he's got a triple parlay going with the Astros, the Twins, and the Brewers. We talked about the Twins and the Brewers already. I like the Astros. They're playing right now. They're up 4-0 after 2 innings. I had them in my premiums today because it was Verlander going as Matt Brash. Who's already thrown 61 pitches in 2 innings.
Yeah, sign him up for the Royals.
Yep, gave him 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, struck out 2.
By the way, quick update for those of you that care: the Royals have not come back yet. It is we're through 6. We're in the bottom of the 6. It's still 5-0.
And Marlowe disappointed as the Tigers rally with 3 here in the bottom of the 5th. They're now in front of the Pirates 3-2.
God damn it! All right,
thanks a lot, Bryce Wilson.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys, that's going to close out the show for the day. Good luck on all your plays. Thanks for all the comments and everything like that. Thanks for hanging with me for the 3 or 4 minutes where Chris was gone. Got kind of scary for everybody. I appreciate everybody. I know some people took cover in the basement.
Way to talk Scott off that ledge, guys.
Talk themselves. Well, I mean, believe me, I can talk 45 minutes straight, but I think people that tuned in to hear your parlays would have been less than thrilled when I had none of your parlays because you took your sheets with you. So,
I didn't realize that it disappeared when I left.
Oh yeah. Oh, I could have run through that. Oh, if I'd have had them, I don't need you. As long as you do all the work, fuck, I can read. But that was not the case. Hey, thanks for coming and thanks for doing your thing, Chris. We appreciate it as always. Don't forget to stay tuned here in just a couple of minutes. Scott Reichel and I will be right back doing our thing as we do head back to the window. But for now, just parlays. That's a wrap. You guys take care. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, as Chris and I will get together.